Welcome to the May 27th, 2024 Advance Report designed for McGowan Group clients and networthradio.com listeners. This week, major money flows. And I'll tell you what the thought process is behind it, and I'm going to show you the impact. First, if we look at what happened to NVIDIA. Now that is the AI chip maker for the data centers. And of course, it's been in the news and it made a new high this week. It was up 14% for the week. What's happened there? Well, revenue was up nearly threefold in a single year. Profits were up nearly fivefold, and that spilled over. The superstar so far this year, Supermicro, is up about 200%. Microsoft is up about 14%. It is the anticipation of a data center build out that is going to take years, of course, but the AI super cycle well underway, designed to improve efficiencies, computing power, and the software that we use each and every day. Well, that super cycle, as we've said in past episodes, that's why you want to subscribe. What we've talked about is the great bull market of the 1990s. People started using the internet. PC networks were getting built out. People figured out how to use a PC. And efficiencies exploded. And so did corporate profits. This could be that kind of super cycle. And the money flows this week demonstrated in another two areas. The first is copper. What the heck with copper? Boom. This is a 10-year chart, and boom, copper just skyrockets to a record high. Well, let's think about it intuitively. You need wires in a data center. Okay, that's part of it. EV chargers, that's part of it too. So this great build out that starts with the data centers extending into the commodity markets apparently with an all-time new high in copper. Now here, when we look at natural gas, we've got a spike. You go from $1.50 to $3 on natural gas. It came back at the end of the week, but part of that spike is anticipating additional demand, just like the copper. You need power, and natural gas is the quickest and easiest way to get there. Of course, you've got solar and wind. That takes a little longer. And you've got nuclear. That takes a long time too. So natural gas is the first wave of the solution. There were predictions of $4.50 for natural gas. So the infrastructure that supports that is already high cash flow, and that energy infrastructure could become more valuable as demand accelerates. You see, this has broader implications across the whole economy. Here, I'll make a point on natural gas. This was the shale revolution, the low price down here below $2 in 2016. Wow, $10 in 2022, and then $2.60 right here. This was at the invasion, by the way. So we are historically at extremely low prices for natural gas, and that's cheap power. The utilities also had a rally this week, and we'll cover that as well. But what happened to the Dow? I mean, if it wasn't for artificial intelligence stocks, the markets would have been much, much worse this week. And you could see about 1,000 points. We hit 40,000. Now we're down at 39,000. So the broad market actually took a little hit this week. And you've got some economic growth that may explain that. 3.5%. That says the Fed's probably going to delay their rate cuts. The 3.5% GDP growth is actually extremely good news. Now, I've got something special for you. By the way, I'm Spencer McGowan, your financial weatherman, president, McGowan Group Wealth Management. We serve affluent families right here from the Crescent in Dallas. Networthradio.com. We've also got the podcast, and we're going to cover one of the most important potential headlines for 2026 and for 2025. How do we anticipate these? The tax cuts expire at the end of 2025 if Congress doesn't do something. That's not good news for the economy unless Washington gets their act together. The other salacious headline that's coming up, we cover in more detail at networthradio.com on the audio or Apple Podcast. The other thing that's coming up is the debt ceiling. January 1st, 2025, that's going to be a big issue. And in the fourth quarter, depending on election outcomes, you got a lame duck Congress that has to get in there and solve that right about the holiday time. They're not going to be happy about doing that. So that's where you're setting up some potential opportunities for having some tactical cash. Thank you for tuning in. McGowan Group Wealth Management, busy each week to bring you the most concise headlines and portfolio strategy. Thank you for tuning in today to Net Worth Media. We also have Apple Podcast. Simply type in Net Worth Radio and boom, it'll hit your phone right then. If you also go to networthradio.com on a browser, you're going to be able to meet the team. You can see our performance track record, the model portfolios that go with today's broadcast. Also at networthradio.com, the longer play podcast is available there as well. We're grateful that you've tuned in. Remember, when we talk about a security, it doesn't make it a recommendation for your portfolio until we actually complete a written plan for you by Zoom or in office or simply a conference call. So you reach us at networthradio.com if you want to get that arranged. Market fluctuations and how to handle them. We build high cash flow portfolios, and past performance doesn't guarantee future results, so you do have to be ready for challenging markets. We can build more cash flow during challenging markets than we can when everybody's happy and everything's up, which is when we tend to raise tactical safety. Those allocation strategies are here at networthradio.com. Thank you for tuning in.